This
Onboarding
conference will now be recorded.
sorry onboarding process flow means this is your supplier. So here you can see SLP, supplier management, is the module which is called as SLP module, supplier life cycle and performance module. So earlier this module was called as SIPM, supplier information and performance module. Okay, so here you can see this is just a process flow I have kept for you guys. In details I have different screens that I will show you again. So here you can see this is how the registration is going to start. So first, there will be a supplier, and first we'll initiate the supplier request with the supplier. Then supplier will fill the request form. So basically we will be sending a set of questionnaire to the supplier. Then supplier will respond those questionnaires. Then it will come to us. Then it will be sent for the approval. So it, like from, you can see from requester it will be sent, then again it will come back to the Ariba system, and there will be a category manager who will be responsible for the approval. And then if yes, then what will happen? If no, then what will happen? So that is how I just wanted to show you here. Okay, in details we will be discussing more into this. So this is like agenda on SLP, which is there like in supplier request. As I said, in SLP we have different categories. Like one is supplier request process. So this is the first process for supplier onboarding in SAP Ariba. And then supplier registration process, then supplier qualification process, then preferred supplier process, then supplier disqualification. So these are different type of like process we have in SLP module itself. Okay, so in supplier request what happens, like here we have different type of suppliers. We have external supplier request, we will have internal supplier request, we will have the managing supplier request. So how are we going to manage those things? So basically there will be a template that we need to configure in the system, and on that so basically in that template there will be some set of questionnaire which we are going to use for filling a kind of form, so that we can onboard that supplier successfully in Ariba system. So that is the supplier request process. So basically we will be asking some basic details, basic information from the supplier, and they will be giving like their supplier name, supplier address, country, region. So the basic information will be asking, and that will be given by the supplier itself. And based on that, we will complete the supplier request process. So here again, so this is just a general process, like supplier name and address and all. Okay, so once we have maintained that details, so there will be a number generated in the system itself that is called SM vendor ID, supplier manage vendor ID. So that that vendor ID will be created in the system, and that will be unique to that particular supplier in the Ariba system. Maybe that supplier ID may be different for different clients, for different systems. Okay, so if we will be talking about only one system, then there will be only one SM vendor ID that will be unique to that particular supplier for the supplier request process. And once that is done, the next process will be the supplier registration process. So in supplier registration process, what happening, we will be asking some set of questionnaire to the supplier, like what is their name, how many employees they have, then what is their bank details, what is their mm, strength of the organization, if you need any attachment, those kind of like information if you want to ask. Again, that will be a set of template where we are going to ask those questionnaire to the supplier, and then supplier will respond to that. So the moment they will respond in their system, and so basically that supplier has to register with the Ariba network. And if supplier is within Ariba network, and if he submit the registration form, automatically it will be visible to the buyer in Ariba system itself. So there will be no manual work, manual activity here. The moment supplier will fulfill the form, automatically those details will be replicated to the Ariba system, and the buyer can see that supplier has submitted their registration process. Then again, there will be some approval process. So whoever will be responsible for the approval, he will go and he will approve it, and the registration process is done. So the moment registration process will be done, if suppose that supplier is registered with Ariba network, so there is a network ID that is called Ariba network ID, ANID, will be generated for that particular supplier just below this. I was talking about SM vendor ID, right? When we will onboard the supplier. So just below that, we can see an ID that is called supplier network ID. So that will be the registration process. So once this registration is done, next we will go for the qualification process, where you want to qualify that supplier. So again, for qualification process, you will have some standard set of questions. So these all set of questionnaire will be finalized with the customer at the time of design phase, or at the time of design discussion with the HODs or with the management team. And out of that, one supplier or multiple supplier, whoever will be your best supplier, you can select as your preferred supplier. So regularly you might be ordering something, so those kinds of suppliers can be your preferred supplier if you want to. Okay, and then supplier disqualification. So once you have onboarded the supplier, but you want to disqualify that supplier, or maybe because of some reason, if you want to disqualify that supplier, you can disqualify as well. So that is the supplier disqualification process. So these are the process which is there, like supplier request, registration, qualification, disqualification, and preferred supplier is a part of the SLP module. Along with this, there is another part of SLP itself that is called SPM, that is supplier performance model. So in supplier performance, what we are doing is we are there will be some score, and based on their performance, based on the evaluation, we will be giving how much score will be there for the particular supplier based on their whatever the parameters we will be selecting. Okay, so this is the whole thing about the SLP module, that is supplier management module. So here I have just taken few screenshots for you guys. So this is how SAP screen looks like, and here there will be 3 tabs where recent, manage, and create tab will be there. So here you can see supplier request tab will be there. So the moment you will click on create tab, this pop-up will appear, and here you have to click on this supplier request. So the moment you will click on supplier request, you will be able to see this kind of form where you have to fill the details, like what is the supplier name, supplier first name, last name, then the email address, then other details like company code, company name. So if you want to fill all, so this is just a basic form which you are going to fill to onboard the supplier successfully in Ariba.
This
So
is buyer will be filling this one.
Just to onboard the supplier, because in SLP first process is supplier request, right? So in supplier request,
so from where we will get these details? That is an offline process, or?
So the supplier will provide you all these details.
Yeah, that's what. How do they provide means of communication? That is through email or offline, or how it is?
That is, it depends. Maybe email, maybe offline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, this activity will be done by buyer team, right? Procurement team.
Yes, procurement team.
Okay.
On behalf of supplier, the buyer.
Yeah.
From
Someone,
the buyer team,
junior level guys from buyer team, they will do.
Yes. So they will assign someone who will be responsible for this, and he will be doing all this. Okay. And then once suppose supplier is verified and everything is done, you will be able to see all the details like this here. Once the supplier is on. Okay, and here you can see this is how the status will looks like. Once the supplier will fill all the details, after that the next step will be the approval process. So once you have onboarded the supplier, now it will be sent for the approval. So here you can see the status has been changed in the dashboard itself. So in the dashboard itself, you can see your documents, what are you doing, what transactions you are doing, and other activities. So here we can see it is in the approval process. Then it will be sent for the approval. Then the approver, whoever will be the approver, he will approve the supplier onboarding part. Then the registration will start. So one by one, each and every module will start altogether. Okay. So this is how, like, CM means category manager. So in SAP Ariba, most of the things will be, like a role specific. So CM is category manager. So there will be a category manager. So category manager can be anything. So from the business side, they will tell, okay, these many employees may be the category manager role. So they can responsible, or they can approve the documents. So based on that, we will create a group called category manager, and within that we will assign 2 or 3 employees, whoever will be responsible for the approval. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, and that is how the complete the supplier 360-degree profile will be created, and then the registration will start. So once the supplier request is onboarded, then it has been approved, then now supplier is invited for registration. So now we will send the invitation to the supplier for registration now. So again, for registration, we will be asking some set of questionnaire. So here you can see first, this is the supplier which is already registered, already onboarded through supplier request. Then now we will be moving to the supplier registration process. So here you can see this is the number. So this is called SM vendor ID, which I was talking about initially. So once the supplier is onboarded, we can see that this supplier SM vendor ID will be generated uniquely for this particular supplier. And once it is done, now here you can see this registration tab. So until the supplier onboarding will not be done, this registration tab will not enable. Now see, below registration, the qualification tab should enable. But until registration process will not complete, qualification tab will not enable. So until qualification will not complete, preferred supplier will not enable. So this is how it goes in sequence. So you will complete one step, then the next tab will enable. Then you have to get into that, and you have to complete those activities there. Okay. So still we are into the supplier request form itself. No, sorry, in supplier request.
Can you repeat what is the first step here? Supplier
request.
Supplier request.
Yes.
Supplier request, supplier registration, then
supplier qualification.
Okay.
Preferred supplier disqualification.
Okay.
So the moment you will be seeing this SM vendor ID means you can understand that this supplier is only onboarded into Ariba system. Registration is not yet done. If registration is done, here additionally you will be getting one more number that is called ANID, that is Ariba network ID. So we will see there. Okay. So now again we will be getting into now supplier registration process. So once we have onboarded the supplier, now we will be asking some set of questionnaire for the registration process to the supplier. So we will have some standard list of questions we will be asking them, and they have to answer them. And these all will be online. So we will be sending the questionnaire from Ariba system, and the supplier should be registered with Ariba network. So then supplier will log in into Ariba network with their credentials, and they can see our questions, whatever we have sent. And based on that, they will respond, and the buyer can see all the details. So these are just like every supplier have 360-degree view, means supplier request is done. Okay, so to invite or re-invite a new supplier to register, we are using the supplier registration process. So that is how I have explained now. So we'll move to the next. Okay, so after that, like here you can see like internal supplier request process, means how it goes in this flow. So now there will be a category manager, and that starts the registration process for the supplier now. So what will happen here, there will be a project owner. So project owner can be anyone from the business side. So he will be notified the registration process has started. So from the user side, there will be a user who will be initiate this process. There will be a person like from the management side, the project owner will be there. He will be notified that, okay, we are sending this registration process to this particular supplier. Then supplier will receive the invitation to start the registration process. And then supplier submit the registration questionnaire. That is what I was talking about. Then once the supplier will submit their registration questionnaire, it will come to the user. So it may be the project owner who will be responsible for the approval. So he will approve the registration questionnaire. And then supervisor of the project owner approve the registration questionnaire. So you can see there can be one approver or there can be multiple. The vendor administrator approves the supplier questionnaire. So these are different person. Then finance user approve the registration questionnaire. Then finance manager approve the registration questionnaire. And then supplier is notified that the registration is approved. And then finally supplier is registered. So here you can see there are multiple ways we can approve it. So there can be one person who can approve the registration, or there can be multiple users who can be part of the registration process. Okay. So this is just a approval, just a process flow I just wanted to show you. Okay. And again, these are the high level steps which we have discussed now. Any question on registration?
Is there any difference between internal supplier and external supplier?
Yes, internal supplier means there can be your supplier which are already existing with you, and there will be external supplier which will be your like completely new supplier which you are dealing with. So now if suppose a supplier, you are dealing with a supplier who is not registered with Ariba network, or there will be a supplier who is registered with Ariba network. So there is a difference between the difference on that. If supplier is not registered with Ariba network, then the supplier has to. So in general, SAP suggests that if any supplier who is doing business, he has to register himself in Ariba network, so that he can get more suppliers, or the user also can get more more online transactions. If suppose the supplier is not registered with Ariba network, then it will be very much means it is kind of issue for the buyer. So buyer will write everything, means this document will send to his email, then the supplier will respond via email, then the buyer will update everything in the system, like we are doing in S4HANA, where we are creating a supplier, we are getting all the information, then we are putting we are maintaining everything in business partner, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now again you can see this registration process is done. Supplier has submitted everything, the questionnaire they have submitted, then it came for the approval. You can see the different process flow we have for the approval. So here you can see still the ANID has not been generated, means the final approval is not done. Once the approval is done, you can see a additional ANID that is called Ariba network ID. Okay, so here you can see these are the the details which has been submitted by the supplier. And then so these will be kind of questions which will be coming, and here you can see the response. This is how the response has been done. And in registration process we will have two type of questionnaire. One is internal questionnaire, another one is external questionnaire. So when you are making your registration with the supplier, you are sending some external questionnaire to the supplier which they are responding, and we are maintaining some internal questionnaire. So internal questionnaire is the set of questions, or basically set of master data which we use to integrate with our ERP system, like account group, GL accounts, tax informations, bank details, everything will be there in this internal questionnaire. Then only your supplier will integrate with your ERP system, maybe your S4 or ECC. Okay. Any question here?
No.
Fine. So this is the process flow I was just wondering for. And then the supplier quality. So now once your registration is done, next is your qualification process. So why are you qualifying that? So once the registration process, you might be asking, or you might be thinking that once supplier registration is done, then why we are going to qualify it again. So this qualification process is basically used to collect information from the supplier, like basically the finance information we are getting it from the supplier. Categories specific, some document, some attachment which we are going to ask to the supplier. So here again we have to conduct some qualification approval by category or by region or by plant, how they are looking for. So we are collecting all these necessary internal assessment information to qualify a supplier successfully. So for supplier qualification also, we have to send some set of questionnaire to the supplier. Then supplier will respond. Then it will come back again to the buyer. Again the same process. The approval workflow will be there. So each one have to approve it, and then finally it will be finalized. And then the supplier will be qualified. Coming to the integration part, you can integrate your supplier after registration also, after qualification also. So it depends. Preferably, we always prefer to go with the registration, not for the qualification. But we can do with qualification as well, because we have this provision, we have this functionality. We can integrate our supplier after registration also, after qualification also. Okay. So again, these are the same thing which we have discussed, so will not spend much time. So this is about your preferred supplier, like who is your preferred supplier. So once you have qualified the supplier, it can be made as your preferred supplier according to the required category, region, or department. So you can make it. So you can make your preferred supplier based on the category also, based on the region combination. So basically there should be a combination, either category or region or category or department. Okay. So again, there are some steps which you need to perform to complete the preferred supplier. So just this is how it looks like in the screen. Now you can see registration is done, then qualification is done. Once qualification is done, then only this preferred will enable. So this is how, and here you can see now this ANID has been generated because registration we have already done. So earlier only this ID was there, SM vendor ID. Then now we can see Ariba network ID also. Clear?
Yes.
And once this supplier will be integrated with your ERP system, additionally you will be able to see your ERP vendor ID, means the business partner ID or the vendor ID will be replicated back from ERP system to Ariba system. So that number can be visible here. But for that it should be integrated. If it is not integrated, means your customer is working standalone business without integration with ECC or S/4HANA system. Okay, fine. So this is all about that. And this is the about Ariba Discovery. So Ariba Discovery is basically a marketplace solution which allows buyer to find best qualified suppliers. So you can, like, search multiple suppliers there. So again, Ariba Discovery is part of sourcing. So where we will be discussing more on this. So here you can see now that was up to your SLP module. So in SLP, we have seen supplier request, supplier registration, supplier qualification, preferred supplier, and supplier disqualification. So these are part of your SLP. And now we are moving to sourcing modules. In sourcing module here, you can see we have just seen this Ariba Discovery. And in sourcing, we have different type of project and different type of events we have. So sourcing is completely part of, like, if you you are aware of RFQ, right? Request for quotation concept we have in S/4HANA. So if sourcing is integrated with ERP, your core will be the RFQ which you are creating in S/4HANA system. So basically in sourcing we have different type of events. We have full project event, we have quick project event. So these are the different event types. So there are two type of sourcing project event we have: full project and quick project. So full project, here you can see there are there are four type of events we have: RFI, RFP, auction, and forward auction. So if you're working for full project, system automatically will understand that you are going for RFI, RFP, auction, and forward auction. So system will give you all the options out of that which one you are going to use. But if you're selecting quick project, there will be only one option to select one event type, not all the four event type, which will be coming for the full project. Okay, any doubt here? Any questions?
In quick project, I think in full project, can we skip anyone? Like if we don't want auctions, we can go with only RFI and RFP.
Multiple. So basically you can use multiple, like at a time, if you're going for full project, you can go for RFI also, RFP also, auction also, forward auction also. But if you're selecting quick project, only one you
If
can
you want to skip, you can skip other two, right? In even in full project also.
Yes.
Okay.
You will have the option whether you want to go for all four or all two.
Okay.
But if you are selecting quick project, you will have all the options in drop down, but only one you can select.
Yeah. Okay.
That is the difference between these two. Okay, so this is how the sourcing starts. And so if you are going to start sourcing project, you have to click on create tab, then you have to click on sourcing. So sourcing project. So once you click on sourcing project, you will be able to see this screen. And here you can see this is the event type and this is the project type: full project or quick project. So if you will be able to, if you will click on quick project, you will have the drop down. Here you can see all the drop down, but it is selected only RFP. If you'll click on quick project, full project, you will be able to see all those. And then these are the filled region and department which you need to fill. What is the commodity code? What is the currency? Who is the owner? Everything you can be. What is the baseline spend? How much spend? Or what is the target saving you want to maintain? So if you want to fill all the details, if you have all the information, you can fill it. Otherwise, it is not mandatory. Okay, and once it is done, like there will be a email notification will be sent to the supplier in this format that sourcing event is completed. So like this type. So this is a standard template set for the email notification to the supplier, which will be sent. So basically, this is your approval mail. So once you have created the supplier, then it will be sent. Once you have created this sourcing project, you have filled all the details, it will be sent to the supplier. Then supplier will respond. So when supplier will respond back, then it will be sent for the, yes.
Here one question, one clarification. It is going to the approver or supplier. Once published, only it will go to supplier, right? Or before that?
No, once it is published, so this is the form which he has to select. He has to fill. After that, he will have there will be some the user will select for which supplier he can send. So then he will select the quantity, then he will select the price, right? There will be different price. There is a ceiling price, there is a reserve price, there is a historical price. So those price details he will enter, and then he will publish this sourcing event. And the moment he will publish, there will be some set of time which will be fixed, and within that time he has to respond. And once he will respond, then there will be email notification will be sent to the user.
No, here before approval we cannot publish, right? Or how it is?
No, we can publish. See, for publishing, we don't need any approval.
Okay.
So
Okay. What is this mail? Next mail you are showing, right? That's what.
It will be going for the approval.
Yeah, that's what.
Like once the supplier will respond, then the approval email will be sent to the user, whoever will be responsible for the approval. and then he will click on here. So it is just an email. So from email itself, it will trigger to the Ariba system, and then he can approve it, or directly he can get into Ariba system and he can approve it. So here you can see the moment he clicked on this, click here he will be getting the option deny or approve. So he'll click on approve and he can approve it. So click on approve to publish the event.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. I think once
No,
it is
it
approved, only event gets published. Still, it is not sent to supplier.
No, it's not like that. It maybe wrongly it has been done. So it's not like that. So there will be a user. So he will just publish the event, because user will have that authority that he will
Correct.
publish
Yes.
this event when when approval is required. Once everything will be come back from the supplier side, and then
Okay.
it will be sent for the approval. Maybe the some wrong things has been done. Now see, when it will come for the approval, this is how he will be approved based on this. Here you can see these are when supplier will respond, supplier responses will come like this. For example, suppose this supplier 1, supplier 2. So this is the initial cost which has been given, but supplier has responded with this much of supply, this much of cost. So this will be the total cost. Now based on this, the approval has been done. Okay.
Okay.
And again, for the integration point of view, once now your supplier is like awarded, so this is the final awarding process. So once you have awarded the supplier, then you will, if suppose it is integrated with your ERP system, we have to push this data to the ERP system to S4HANA, and the sourcing details, whatever awarding we have done for the supplier will be replicated to the ERP system. So in Ariba, we are calling it as RFP. In S4HANA, the same concept we have in RFQ. Okay. So once your supplier is awarded, now you can create the contract with reference to that sourcing event which you have created. Either you can create with reference to the sourcing event, or you can create the contract manually also. So it depends. So best part why everybody is going for Ariba nowadays is because especially for the upstream, like for SLP sourcing and contract. So this is, a lot of documentation which is happening online. The online transaction is happening between buyer and supplier. So that is very much user friendly. So the users are also able to see everything online, whatever transactions are happening. So the same thing it happens in contract as well. So in contract, the best part is contract authoring. Whatever the contract documentation there will be some standard contract document which has to be signed. So everything will happen online here. So this is the contract life cycle. They will prepare and author some contract. So that is your contract authoring process. Then it will go for the review and negotiation, and final approval will be done, and then they can amend and manage the contract. Okay, so and there will be the option of contract workspace where we can go and we can create the contract. Any questions here?
Can you explain a little bit what is the contract?
Sorry.
Explain what is this contract works. What is the difference between contract and contract works?
See, contract workspace, basically here, there are two things which is generated in Ariba system. There you will be creating the contract with reference to sourcing. Okay, so in maybe I'll not be able to log in into the system. Maybe if I log in into the system, you can understand better. So there will be the options contract workspace. In bracket, you will be getting the option for procurement, where you are directly creating the contract with reference to sourcing. That is your contract workspace place.
Okay.
Okay. So here I couldn't find much. So here you can see this is the contract screen, which you can see like contract type, like we have seen sourcing event type, right? So here we can see the contract workspace. So it is the kind of workspace where we are going to create the contract for the procurement.
Okay. Okay.
So and this is the screen where you can see, you can maintain your project type, then your contract process type. So there are few customization also, because the screenshot which I have taken, which is like quite integrated, quite customized, or it is not part of the standard. Few things has been like the customized here in this screen. So these are all the template level configurations. So in template you can maintain everything. So whatever you want, whatever changes you want to do, you don't want this field, you want to hide this, or whatever the star mark you are seeing, these are made as mandatory field in the template level. So template configuration will be there for SLP sourcing and contract module, not for the downstream. It will not be there for the buying and invoicing.
Okay.
Okay, and once your contract is done, now your contract is, so again it depends now whether your customer is or customer has taken license for SLP sourcing contract all the modules, or they have taken only upstream, or maybe in upstream itself they have taken only SLP or sourcing, or they have taken only contract. It completely depend on the customers. Many customers, they are using all the functionalities of Ariba, like SLP, sourcing, contract, then buying and invoicing, commerce automation, supply chain collaboration, everything. But many customers, they might be handling their procurement process from their S4HANA system, and they will go only with SLP, sourcing, contract, and the commerce automation, which they can use for the indirect for the direct procurement. Okay, so once it is done, I'm just moving to the downstream now. So in downstream, sorry, so in downstream here now, it will be starting with intro about your purchase requisition and shopping carts. So as you know, this purchase requisition, so there will be a catalog. So there are two different ways we can create the purchase requisition in buying. We can select the catalog, and if suppose that catalog is not available in the system, we can directly create the non-catalog. But in that case, we have to enter the supplier manually. But if you have the catalog, so it will be like the supplier will be assigned to that particular catalog, and whatever the price, delivery date, and other details, tax information and all, if any information which you wanted to publish within the catalog, that can be managed and that can be visible there as well. So this the procurement process works like, first the purchase requisition has been created here, then it will be sent for the approval, and the moment PR is approved, PO will be created automatically. Here we are not going for any approval for the purchase order. Like in S4HANA system, PO is the mandatory option we have, right? But in Ariba, we need not approve PO. The moment PR will approve, PO will create automatically, and that PO number will be sent to the supplier. You might have some question here.
So in Ariba, the shopping cart will be created or it's purchase requisition? First step.
First step is your purchase requisition. So that is your shopping cart only. So in shopping cart means like in general in Amazon, what are you doing? You are selecting your product, right?
Yes.
Then you're adding into your cart if you have multiple products. Then you are submitting it. So Amazon is kind of the same functionality we have in Ariba.
Okay.
So back end of Amazon, you can say Ariba is there. Okay, so purchase requisition will be created and will be sent for the approval. Once it is approved, automatically the PO will be created and the PO number will be sent to the supplier. And supplier will give you the order confirmation and advance shipping notification. And based and whatever he will do, those details will be replicated back to the Ariba system, and the buyer can see what is their like advance shipping notification details and what are the order confirmation, whether they have confirmed the entire order or partially order. We will be able to see everything. Okay, so here you can see this is a guided buying concept we have. So this is how the catalog will looks like. So within one catalog, there we will here we may have the parent and child concept. So here this is the parent catalog you can see, and within this inside may be relevant to regional distribution center. You will have 100 of catalogs. So you can open this and you can select your catalog, then you can add into your cart and you can start your buying process. So in buying we have two things. One is buying process and one is guided buying. So if you are working for guided buying, you cannot do invoicing in Ariba. If you are working for buying, then you have to go for buying and invoicing. So there are two separate concepts we have. So guided buying, if you are working for guided buying, it is called P2O process, procure to order. Means you are creating the PR, PO, and then goods receipt. Your job is done. You cannot do more than that in guided buying. If you want to do invoicing, you have to go for the classical buying. That is the buying and invoicing model. The screen will be same, but the process will be limited in guided buying and buying system. The catalogs will be there also. Catalogs will be here also. The catalog which you will maintain in Ariba buying will replicate back to the guided buying itself.
Normal buying, what is the process you call?
Same process.
P2.
That is called that will be your P2P you can say. Means PR, PO, GR, invoicing.
Yeah, procure to pay something.
Procure to pay. So anyway, I will not say pay because we cannot make we don't have the payment functionality in Ariba. Till invoicing it will be done, and then invoicing number will be replicate back to the ERP system, and payment will be done in the in the ERP system, and that payment details will replicate back to the Ariba system. Ariba is not the platform where we can do any kind of finance activity. It is only for the procurement.
Okay.
Okay. And this is about invoicing. Like in invoicing, we can have the electronic document will be submitted by the supplier, and that will be visible to the buyer, so buyer can see the invoice. So the moment, so now when the supplier will be registered with Ariba network, he will be receiving all the POs, and against that PO he will submit the invoicing. He will create the invoice there itself in Ariba network, and when he will submit the invoice electronically representation, this is what it has been mentioned. So that now document will be like submitted by the supplier there, and the buyer can see that invoice in buying system. So an invoice should always reflect exactly what was submitted by the supplier. So exactly what they will submit, it will be visible here to the buyer here. And then it will depend whether they are accepting that or they are denying that. Sometimes there may be some mismatch in the invoicing also. So usually invoice contains these other few types I have taken, like for procurement, maybe for goods or maybe for services, then tax details, shipping details, packing details if they have any discount, if they are they want to maintain. So everything will be there in their invoice sheet in the Ariba network itself. So they will definitely send some hard copy of the invoice, but online also they will submit all the details and will be replicated back to Ariba system, and the buyer can see that. Here you can see this screen. This is your three-way match. So here you can see first one is your order ID. So order ID is nothing but your PO ID. Then if you have done goods receipt, you can see your goods receipt here. But here service receipt is done, service entry sheet. So your service, in spite of goods receipt, service sheet details is there. And then reconciliation is done and the payment is done. So this is how you can see this. So this payment details will replicate from the ERP system to Ariba system. So we can see these details. Okay, and this is what about the commerce automation. So commerce automation is basically used for the direct procurement. So whatever procurement we were talking about, catalog and non-catalog, these are your indirect procurement process. Commerce automation, supply chain collaboration, these are completely your direct procurement process, where your PR, PO, everything will created in ERP system, not in Ariba system at all. So here you can see in ECC itself, in purchasing, that you are creating a purchase order, then order request will be sent to Ariba network to the supplier. Then supplier will give order confirmation. So confirm order will receive back to the ECC ERP system or S/4HANA system. Okay. Then shipping notification. This is advanced shipping notification will be sent. It will be a inbound delivery in Ariba system in purchase order screen itself. You can see in the confirmation tab. And then the goods receipt will be done with reference to the inbound delivery, and then goods receipt document status will update. Then if it is a service, then a service entry sheet will be created. Then the invoicing will be created. Then they will create the invoice, and finally this is how the payment will be done. So this is your commerce automation process. So if it is commerce automation or supply chain collaboration, no PRPO will be created in Ariba. It will be created only in the ERP system.
So only difference is PRPO creation, or why they have gone for this commerce automation?
Because there will be like in Ariba, you cannot do direct procurement. You can do only indirect.
Yes.
So there will be many materials which will be a direct comes under your direct procurement, right?
Yes.
So for direct procurement, you have to integrate with, or you have to go for these two modules only: commerce automation or supply chain collaboration.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to use direct procurement with Ariba, you cannot use buying system. You have to integrate it with your Ariba network, and then whatever PO will be created, it will be sent. Now whatever PO you are creating, it may replicate to the buyer also if you want, but directly that PO will be sent to the supplier. PO will not create in Ariba itself. You can replicate the PO which is created in ERP system. That PO number, if you want, replicate to the buyer if you want, but it will not create in Ariba.
Okay.
So this is what all about commerce automation. So there is a little bit difference between commerce automation and supply chain collaboration. Like in commerce automation, you can do subcontracting activities. You cannot do subcontracting activities. Subcontracting activities and your consignment process, these all you can do in supply chain collaboration, which is not there in commerce automation. There is quality collaboration also can be possible in supply chain collaboration, which is not there in commerce automation. So these are few changes. And coming to your CIG, like this is how the CIG will be connected. So CIG will be the basically it will be installed. So first of all, the add-on will be installed in the ERP system. So CIG will be enabled by the SAP itself. So CIG will enable by SAP, and they will hand it over to us, and we have to just work on it. So here you can see like the S/4HANA or ECC, there will be add-on which will be installed. Okay, and here you can see this Ariba. In Ariba we have So here, while integration, we need the help of Avapor for few body implementation. We need the basis team for the cloud connectivity and the CIG consultant. If suppose in your team there is a separate CIG consultant, he will be taking care of all the integration part. But from the functional side, maybe he can ask some requirements from us. Like what do we want to integrate? What do we not want to integrate? Whether we want to integrate this master data or that master data. So those details we need to tell them. So in most of the projects, there will be a separate CIG consultant who will be taking care of all the integration part.
So here we will be going to consultations, or it will be only walkthrough PPT for CIG.
For CIG integration, we need two different systems. So we
Yeah.
need S4, we need S4 HANA also, we need Ariba also. So here we don't have separate basis, we don't have a Vapor.
Yes.
So mostly we will not be able to show you the integration, but I have the integration guide. If you'll just open that guide and if you'll sit in front of the system, from your side, you can finish everything. Only the
Okay.
Vapor and the basis activity will be pending. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. So you can see this is the interface setup integration. So this is our S4 HANA system. So here we need to mention whether you are connected to cloud production system or test system. So it depends. Like in S4 we have three systems, right? Dev, quality, production if you have. But in Ariba we have only two systems, test system or production system. So in test system itself we are making our development and we are testing. But in S4 we have two different systems. So here this is how you can see so what do you want to integrate? This is how you need to enable. Service sheet you want to enable or not, service notice you want to enable or not, quality notification you want it or not, requisition you want it or not, advanced shipping notification you want it or not. This is how it has to be set up. So this integration setup is being done in the ERP system. There will be a separate screen where you have to maintain all your master data details, like GL accounts. So do you want to export all the GL accounts or the plants, the company code details, supplier details? So there also you have to check mark all this and you have to execute the program. So that is how you are going to import the master data from ERP system to Ariba system. And here also this is the same activity which you are going to complete. So you will enable everything, you will execute this program, and then the details will replicate to the ERP, to the Ariba system.
Okay.
Okay. And this is how the CIG connection happens. So in the CIG screen in connection, here you can see there will be some add-on, there will be some environment, whether it is test environment or production environment. So it is integrated with S4 HANA or ECC. What is so the system ID? System ID is nothing but your client ID from the S4 site. Sorry, not client ID. This is S4 HANA system ID that has to maintain here in Ariba. Then document type, what type of document you are going to integrate. Then what is the domain name? There will be some port name, there will be client ID. This like in like if you have obviously if you have worked in you might have seen client ID, client 100, client 200, client 300. So client ID 100 is for development, client 200 for quality, 300 for production. So those client ID you need to maintain here, whether you are integrating now for development or for production. So that details you need to mention. And then the specific username and password you will be getting, and that you need to maintain.
Okay.
And in test, you can see here you will be getting a document type. So what type of document you are going to integrate? Order request, goods receipt, status update. So like the service entry sheet, invoicing. So those document type will be there. So whatever you will select, based on that you can make your integration. So there is nothing rocket science in CIG. You can do it by your own also. Only the thing is here we need to take the help of like for basis and Evapor. Maybe for Evapor also there will be the standard guide. In like in SAP Ariba we have the standard guide, right? There you will be going and you have to go through those steps and you can configure in the system. Okay, so that is the end which I wanted to share with you guys. Any other questions? If you have, please let me know. Jay, maybe you will have some questions. He was quite silent.
Yeah, so since this is my first time, I need to go through a couple of things so I
Mhm.
understand the basic concepts and yeah.
Yeah. See, coming to the training part, we'll be starting from the basic itself. Don't worry. So we will start from the scratch, like what Ariba is, what is the first process, how it will be done in the system. And this is just a demo process, so I just wanted to tell you the overview what Ariba is and what Ariba in what are the modules and all.
Yeah,
Any other questions? Veera, do you have any other question?
Yeah, you have worked on implementations, Kumar.
Yes. Yeah.
I just want to know how this Ariba implementation goes. Like in case of SAP, I know I have worked on implementation. It's something like yeah, like prepare initially as is blueprint, as is to be, and then blueprint, and then configuration testing, and then cutover activities, go live and hypercare, and then stabilization like that. So in case of Ariba implementation, so what are the something like cutover activities we have for I mean like for Ariba, you have any idea?
See, whatever you said, the same process will be applicable for Ariba also. Only the thing is, like in spite of uh, blueprint, we are calling it as HLD, high level design document.
Okay, what is that? HLD.
HLD document, high level design, HLD.
Okay,
So
okay,
in that document, whatever you are preparing for your blueprint, the same thing will be there based on the client's requirement, and that sign off you will be taking. Along with that, additionally, here you will have the enablement workbook. So
okay,
enablement workbook means these are the template which is used for supplier management. That is your SLP module, sourcing module, contract module. If you are working for upstream, there is no enablement workbook for downstream because these are the enablement workbook which we provide to the customer, and customer will fill those details and give it to us. We will go through it again, we will have the review with the customer, and then that enablement workbook will be submitted to the SAP, and
okay,
based on that enablement workbook, SAP will enable Ariba system for us, and then they will hand over to us. And so that the design phase will be easy for us.
okay.
And rest of the activities will be same. Your design is done, you are starting your development, then your mm, SIT, UAT, cutover, go live, those process will be same.
So what will be the cutover activities in case of Ariba? Because in case of it will be like materials to be loaded, vendor masters to
Yes.
be loaded, then stocks, open stocks to be loaded. So
So
I am curious to know from Ariba standpoint, what is
apart
the
from
cutover?
apart from stock, everything you are doing here. Apart from
Oh,
inventory management, everything you are doing here.
oh, okay, okay,
Inventory management is not there. Apart from
oh,
that, rest all you are doing here itself.
okay. Even open POs also will be
Yes.
done.
Yes.
Okay,
Open POs. So we preferably we ask them to close the PO, not the open
okay,
PO. They want if to replicate the closed PO. We do for that. Open PO we ask them to close in ERP itself would be better.
okay. And contracts also will be uploaded. Maybe something like 5 year,
A
3 year.
legacy contract will be there always, and that is only the pain point for every consultant in
Yeah.
every project. Legacy contract migration is lot of lot of work is there basically. So there will be four different templates. Within that you have to fill all the details, then you have to export it. Most of them will be done, most of them will not be done. Then again you have to, do brainstorming within your contract team. So lot of pain we have for contracts basically.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So those are the standard documents. So those you can download. Like in we have in Ariba we have Ariba Connect. So if you get into Ariba, if you have the credentials for Ariba Connect, you'll be getting all the standard documents, whatever it is required to use in your cutover or any data if you want to update in the system. So everything, all the new features, everything we can get in Ariba Connect there.
Okay.
You can create your service request, how to approach to SAP, everything will be done via that Ariba Connect.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And one last question: if you want to have any new fields, whether
Hmm.
Ariba will allow us to create, like in SAP, we create more than 10 fields or 15 fields
There are,
in the purchase order screen or GR screen custom tabs. But
see,
how far it is feasible in Ariba? I mean, since it is cloud managed.
to be very frank, it is not feasible at all as it is a cloud product, but each and every customer will have some customization. So SAP
Oh,
has given option for at least for 5% you can make the customization. 5 customization can be allowed.
okay,
But
okay.
there,
I mean,
but,
five
but
customizations for all templates, or so maybe I'm asking wrong question. Uh,
for all
five.
per module you can say.
Okay, like
But
SLP one, contract one, five, like that,
right,
or
right, because there are
okay,
many customers who are not who are going on to only one module. Many customers
okay.
were going with 2 modules. Many customers were going with multiple modules. But
So
the problem which,
maximum, yeah,
but the problem is whatever I have seen in my experience, the customers will ask for more customization because customers are already working with S4HANA system or ERP system. So they have seen lot of customization. Now the same thing they want in Ariba also.
yes,
If we will ask them, no, there are some limitations, some issues, what they will say, no, we are paying, you have to do it. There is not an issue for doing all this. We'll speak to SAP, we'll ask them to do it. 1 year, 2 year, the system will run like anything. After 2 years, they will start facing the issues. So we tell this very clearly to the customers. If you want to go for more than this customization, we can do it. Now it will be running well and good. It will go live. 1 year, 2 year, there won't be any issue. Even after 2 years, SAP itself will not support you
okay,
because SAP will clearly tell that there is some limitations. You cannot go beyond that. If you are going, you will be responsible for that.
okay,
Yeah, because it's completely cloud platform and cloud application, and they are giving this instruction to us. Or sometimes, at the time of design phase, we have to convince to the customer. So we are saying that, yeah, something they will ask, which is not as part of the standard, that is not the out of the box functionality, but we will be saying, yeah, we can do it. But
yeah,
when it will come at the time of development, and because at that time, suppose something went wrong, SAP will say, did you ask me this question? Did you ask me for the customization, for this particular customization? No, then I'll not help you. Clearly, they will tell like that.
okay,
If we go for the customization, something which is beyond the expectation level, we first reach out to SAP.
so
If they
customizations can be done even downstream also. It's only upstream.
customization can be done anywhere.
Okay,
That is not a problem. You can do the customization, but there is some problem in the customization. We
yeah,
can do the customization and we can fulfill the customer's requirement as of now. But
okay,
definitely they will face the problem in future, which we have seen so far.
okay,
Now, whatever implementation we are doing, it is good to the customer, but the implementation which we have done with multiple customization with the customer 2 or 3 years ago, they are facing the problem now. And now if they will create the service request to SAP, because now we are not the partner, we have just implemented and then somebody else
Yeah.
is supporting them. So they will face the issue.
Yeah.
Time of implementation, customer will ask, no, I want it, you have to do it. Okay, if you want, we will do it. We'll pass the same message to SAP also, that this is what the issue. At the end, we have to work with SAP. We have to tell them
Yeah.
clearly that this is what the requirement is coming from. So we cannot do anything. We need to fulfill. So there we face the issues. So we tell them very clearly. Nowadays, what we are doing is we are telling them very much clearly that this is, if you want, we can do it. But if you will face the problem in future, then they will ask, okay, then better leave it. Don't go for that customization.
Okay.
And many people from the client side also, they have to just complete this project at any cost. That they will be responsible for that. Like we are responsible is for go live. After go live, will hypercare support will provide. After that, who are you?
Yes.
Right. Anyway, it happens from both the end.
Yeah.
Okay, fine then. Any other
Yeah.
questions?
So you'll be helping with the implementation related stuff also, right? I mean,
Everything. So when we'll start the session, initially we will be talking about kind of implementation itself, like the day one, what happens, day two, what happens, what activities we are doing, and then we
okay.
will get into the system.
Okay. And you'll be covering upstream part and downstream transaction level.
Yes, transaction
Okay.
level, and
Even
I'll try to show you the.
configurations are there in downstream also, like templates. I think we don't have templates in downstream, right?
We don't have templates, but in downstream we have approval workflow, we
Okay.
have catalog management.
Okay.
These are the things which we have in invoicing, also taxes and all configurations. Few challenges we have.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Jai, do you have any question?
Nothing so far as I mentioned earlier.
So
So,
why I'm asking is, if you have any doubt, you can ask whether it is relevant or irrelevant. Because now
mhm,
Veera can correlate because he has worked in and that is
yes.
his background. So if you have any question, because at the end, when we'll start the session, we'll start the training that will be completely from basic. Though Veera is aware of procurement, this Ariba system will be completely new for him.
Yes.
Yes.
So we'll do the training in such a way so that you can, after completion of the training, you will be knowing each and everything. At least you can crack the interview. That is not
Uh,
that much difficult, I would say.
mhm.
Only the thing
So,
is, whatever I ask you, you have to complete that. Yeah, please.
yeah. So, since I already mentioned I am from a science background, so how tough is it for me to learn this stream?
To be very frank, if you'll ask to Veera also, Veera is also there. Procurement is the module who can learn by anyone. It is not mandatory for that you should be a mechanical engineer or electrical engineer or computer science engineer or anyone.
Mhm,
Doesn't matter, because it is a functional module. It can be learned by anyone. To be very frank, procurement is the module which is used by everyone every day at home.
mhm.
You want me to give the example?
Sure.
Like you are doing a procurement, right? You are buying something from Amazon.
Mhm,
So first you are starting with your requirement. So that is nothing but your purchase requisition, which we were talking about.
yeah.
So your requirement is, suppose, a mobile phone. So that is your requirement. Then you are going to select your color, your quantity, your delivery date, delivery address, delivery locations, right?
Mhm,
Everything you are doing same here in Ariba also. And then you are doing your goods receipt. After goods receipt, you are doing your invoicing. So when you are receiving your like Amazon package, in the top of that you might be seeing an invoicing copy, white color copy. Have you observed that? That is your invoice copy.
mhm,
So when you will be working for the organization, you will be also receiving an invoicing copy. So based on that, you are going for in the next step, that is your payment process, which we are not doing. That will be responsible by the finance team.
Got
So
it.
this is the procurement activity. Only the thing is now, how does it happen in the Ariba system, that you get to know.
Yeah.
Process wise, you know what is procurement.
Mhm.
Anyway, will be discussed in more details in our session.
Okay. So it's going to be like all 5 days or all 7 days a week?
That we will discuss, because we have few more mm, colleagues also. So we will be asking them how, because at the end time matters. At what time you are available, at time they are available, whether we will go for like regular morning hours or only in weekends. So we'll finalize that, and then Subbu will be the final contact person who will be informing all these details to you all.
Okay.
Okay, fine then. So if you don't have any other question, let's wrap up the session.
Yeah. Thank you, Kumar. Thanks a
Yeah,
lot.
Thank you,
thanks, Vida.
Kumar.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.